Today's lesson is called Multiplying and Dividing Fractions. By the end of today's lesson, you'll know how to multiply and divide fractions. Now first off, we're going to learn what a reciprocal is. So first, go and write down given number and make sure you have a reciprocal as well in your notes. So if I give you a number 3/7, the reciprocal is you're going to be taking this number and you're going to be flipping it. So if the 3 is on the top, it's now going to go to the bottom. The 7's the bottom, it's now going to go to the top. And so we're going to end up with 7/3. The reciprocal, we're going to be flipping the number. So we get 7/3. Now, if I give you 8, technically, remember, we can always put a 1 underneath the number, so it's 8 over 1. What do you think the reciprocal? What do you think the reciprocal is going to be? 1 over 8. Now, I give you -2. Remember, -2 we can still write as a fraction. So -2 over 1, and what do you think the reciprocal is going to be? It's going to be -1/2. Now, I give you a decimal. Well, you're like, there's no fraction. How can I find the reciprocal? But remember, we know how to convert a decimal into fraction form. Remember, this is the tens place, so I put a 10 right here, put a 9 above it. I've now converted it to a fraction. And once it's in fraction form, I can find the reciprocal. So I go and flip my values, and I get 10 over 9. Or if I want to write it as a proper fraction, 1 1/9. Well, how do I get 1 1/9? Let's see, we go and take 9, divide it into 10 once. I get 1 left over, so 1 1/9. That's how I got my answer. So reciprocal, we're taking the value and then we're going to flip it. So now, in your notes, we're going to be learning something called the inverse property of multiplication. So I need you to go and write down the definition as well as both examples. So, what this is we're going to take some non-zero rational number. In this case, for example, 3/7. And when you take the product, or when you multiply by its multiplicative inverse or reciprocal that we just learned, so I took 3/7 and I flipped it around, what you're going to get is 1. So, we take this example and we multiply straight across. We end up with 3 times 7 over 7 times 3, which is equal to 21 over 21. And if I simplify, I get 1. So, make sure everything is in your notes. I want the example with the numbers and then the algebraic example. So in your notes, make sure you have the directions we're simplifying and example number 1. So with example number 1, how are we going to solve this? When we're dealing with fractions, you're multiplying, you multiply straight across the numerator and the denominator. So multiply straight across. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 7 is 35. And then my question is, can I simplify this any further? No, I cannot. So my answer is just 6 over 35. Now, go and write down example number 2. My question to you is, how am I going to multiply this? I have a fraction right here and then no fraction right here. What am I going to do? Now, I want you to remember, we can take any whole number, stick a 1 underneath it. Now what we do, we multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. So see, 10 times 4 is going to give me 40 all over 5. But my question is, can I simplify this? Yes, I can. So let's go and simplify it. Let's see, I know this ends in a 0, so if I divide by 5, I end up with 8 over 1, or 8 as my answer. So this is going to be your answer. Make sure to check, can I simplify? So now we're going to go over something called cross-canceling. So go and write down this example problem as well as cross-canceling, and we're going to show you how to do it. Now normally when we're solving this, we're going to multiply our numerator and our denominator. So I get 45 over 60. Remember, I'm always asking though, can you simplify? That's the question. Can we simplify? Yes, we can. This ends in a 0, this ends in a 5. That way I know they have something in common I can simplify by. What I can actually simplify by is 15. 15 will go into both of them. So if I simplify this, divide both by 15, I end up with my answer of 3/4. Now, we can do something called cross-canceling that'll make our lives a lot easier. So, go ahead and write down what cross-canceling is. Cross-canceling is reducing before we're going to be multiplying. Watch see what happens when we cross cancel. So, I have the same exact problem, 5/6 times 9/10. Now, why is it that I can divide both of those by 5? If you notice, I have 5 and I have 10. Well, I know that 5 times 2 will give me 10. So I can divide this by 5, and I'll end up with a 1. Divide this by 5. What's 10 divided by 5? I'm going to end up with a 2. I'm going to cancel things out ahead of time. So get my 2, and then you're going to look the other way. Can I cross cancel 6 and 9? So we look at 6 and 9. Well, if we break apart 6 and 9 into 2 and 3 and 3 and 3, you'll notice that they have 3 in common. That means I can divide my 9 by 3 as well as my 6 by 3. I can cross cancel. I'm going to be reducing. So I'm going to divide both of them by 3, and I'm going to get 2 and I'm going to get 3. Now that I've reduced, let's go ahead and multiply straight across and let's see what I get. I get 1 times 3, which is 3, 2 times 2, which is 4. So instead of looking for this big giant number to simplify it by, if I do it ahead of time, if I do it before I multiply, look how much easier my answer is going to be. So we're going to get the same exact answer, but get it a lot quicker. So let's go and work on example number 1. So remember, I want to always check, can you cross cancel? That's our question. Can we cross cancel? So let's take a look. Looking in this direction. I got 12 and I got 6. Well, automatically I'm like, hey, 6 is a part of 12. 6 times 2 will give me 12. So I know that 6 is what I want to be simplifying these by. So I divide this by 6. This cancels out into 1. Divide this by 6. Leaves me just with 2. But don't forget I have that y, so it's 2y. Now let's look in the other direction. I have 5 and 25. Hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, automatically you're like, hey, 5 times 5 gives me 25. So I know 5 is my greatest common factor. So if I divide 5 by 5, whoops, that's a bad 5, I get 1. I divide 25 by 5, I get 5. Now, what are my leftovers? I have 5 times 1, 2y times 1. So let's simplify this. I end up with 2y over 5. My next question, can I simplify? No. Since I can't simplify, this is going to be my answer. Now, taking a look at number 2. How in the world am I going to solve this? By changing these into improper fractions. So how do I do that? I multiply, then I add. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, so I have 9/4. Don't forget though, it's a negative, times an add. So I'm multiplying by a negative 9, 10 over 3. And now, we're checking again though. Can I cross cancel? Yes, I can. So let's take a look. I have 3 and 9. Well, automatically I know 3. I can divide by 3. Divide by 3 over here, cancel out to 1. Divide by 3 over here, cancels out to 3. Now, can I simplify these? Let's see, 4 and 10. Now with 4, I know I can break it down into 2 and 2. 10 is 2 and 5. So hey, I have 2 in common. So I divide this by 2, and I get 2. Divide this by 2, and I get 5. So now, let's multiply what's left over. Now don't forget, I have a negative times a negative. Negative times a negative is automatically going to turn into a positive. Now let's see what's left over. I have 2 times 1, 3 times 5. This is going to equal 15 over 2. Remember, I really don't like improper fractions. So let's see. 2 divided into 15, 7 minus 14, I get 1. So 7 and 1/2. Or 7 and 1/2 is going to be your answer. So those are your options. Now we're going to learn how to divide fractions. So in your notes, I want this algebraic expression, if we have AB divided by CD. What we're going to do is we're going to take our last one and we're going to take the reciprocal of it. So make sure you have the directions as well as the algebraic expression. Make sure everything is in your notes. So go and write down the directions as well as number 1. So we are going to be solving this. Now I have to divide the following. So how did I tell you to divide? So my first one is going to stay the same, but my division sign is going to change to what? Multiplication. And don't forget, when you take the reciprocal, we need to flip it around. So it becomes 2 over 1. Now don't forget though, check. Can you cross cancel? Answer is yes, we can. Automatically you should notice, hey, I have a 2 and an 8. Between 2 and 8, 2 times 4 will give me 8. So I know 2 is going to be a factor. So I can simplify by 2. So I divide this by 2, it gives me 1. Divide this by 2, gives me 4. If I looked at 3 and 1, there's nothing I can simplify. So it's going to multiply whatever's left over. I have 4 times 1, 3 times 1. So this ends up equaling 3/4. And we always check, can we simplify? No, we cannot. So this is going to be my answer. So go write down number 2. Now number 2, we got this mixed fraction. So how are we going to solve this problem? Remember, we're going to multiply, then add. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, so we have 13 over 3. Now remember, we're dividing. Now technically I can put this k over 1. So this division sign is going to change to what? Multiplication. Then we need to flip my k over 1, or find the reciprocal, 1 over k. And then we need to check. Can we cross cancel? So I take a look. I have 3 and 1, nothing to simplify. 13 and k, nothing to simplify. So no, I cannot. So it's going to just multiply straight across. I get 13 over 3k, and that is going to be my answer. Now on your own, go and try number 3. How are we going to solve number 3? So taking a look at number 3. First off, I know I'm dividing. So my first term stays the same, 4x over 3. This is going to change to multiplication. That means I need to flip this one, 6 over 5. And then we need to check again. Can I cross cancel? Well, let's see. If I look this way, I have 3 and 6. And I've learned before, 3 times 2 is going to give me 6, so I know I can cancel those. So I divide by 3, cancel out, get 1. Divide by 3, cancel out, get 2. Let's check here. 4 and 5, can I cross cancel anything? No, I can't. So now let's just go and multiply straight across. I end up with 4x times my 2, which gives me 8x, all over 1 times 5, which gives me 5. Remember, I like more proper fractions, so let's go ahead and fix that. So 5 goes into 8 once, 3, okay, so 3/5. So my other possible answer is 1 and 3/5. Don't forget your x as my answer. So I have 2 different possibilities, but both of them are correct. So ladies and gentlemen, I want a 2-sentence summary. We learned about reciprocals, we learned about how to divide fractions and multiply them.